Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Chicago in person and at home. I'm Linda Cherney, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. And I am honored to welcome you to worship this morning along with the worship team, which is our ministerial intern, Elizabeth Cresslan. Our Director of Religious Education is Liz Tolbert, and our Director of Music is Dr. Adam Odell. First Unitarian Church has been a home for progressive religion in Chicago and beyond since 1836. The church sits on the western shore of Lake Michigan, south of the Chicago River. We honor the indigenous peoples for whom these are unceded ancestral homelands, as well as the diverse and vibrant indigenous American communities who make their home here today. We are a Unitarian Universalist congregation, a community of children, youth, and adults. As people of many beliefs and traditions, bound not by specific list of things we believe, but the values that we share, and the mission to grow our souls and to heal the world. Whether you just stepped into this church for the first time or the 1000th time, you're welcome here. Whether you believe in God some of the time, all of the time, or none of the time, you are welcome here. Whether you have a PhD, a GED, or no degree, you're welcome here. No matter your race or who you love or how much money you do or don't have, you are welcome here. If you're a visitor, we're excited to have you with us. Please let us know that you were here by filling out the visitor card and making sure to include an email address. I don't have an example of it, but anyway, should be able to find it. And dropping in the offering plate, and this will ensure that you will get our weekly newsletter. Our joys and sorrows, if anyone has a joy or sorrow that you would like to have read, please fill out a card like this and give it to the ushers as they collect the offering. If you have a joy or concern you would like a pastoral group to address, let the care committee know privately, and you may fill out cards in the sanctuary box. Please join us after the service in the Chris Moore parlor for refreshments and good conversation. To get there, you go up these stairs to my right and your left, and just follow the crowd. So, announcements. On the back of your bulletin, for the week, we have Monday is the humanitarian group, 7 p.m. Zoom only. Senior support group is on Wednesday at 3, and that's also Zoom. And Wednesday is the First U Life Circle in Chris Moore at 6. And Thursday, choir practice at 7 in Health Chapel. And Friday, Open Spark Youth at 6 p.m. Okay, in addition to that, we have a couple of, we're going to be visited by a UU minister from the UK, and this is a family with 2 young children, a 6-year-old and a 7-year-old, and they will be looking for a place to stay the end of July to the beginning of August for, I'm not sure quite how long, but Corey Russell has all that information. So we'd like to host them and give them support while they're here, and hopefully we'll have a UK preacher for at least one Sunday. And so get with Corey if you can help out with that, or if you have any interest in learning more. Also, the Facebook page, our First U Facebook page has an opportunity now to help support members of our community here with various challenges that they have. Okay. It is good to be together. And And so we'll light the chalice, and please join me in reading the covenant. That will be lit by Louis Fitzhugh. Please read together. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
What a joy that we have a music director who would take it upon himself to prepare that just because I had this wacky sermon idea. Today I'm inviting you into a time of thinking together about story. When I was young, I had the American Girl doll Molly. Did anybody else have Molly, like Molly? She was the World War II one. And as I read about the sacrifices that she had to make, like eating bread that they made at home in a tin can and working hard to grow vegetables in her garden, and most importantly, missing her father who was serving in the war, I remember my elementary school self having the thought that I'm gonna confess to you now, that I wish that I lived in interesting times. When I was 7, I did not know what a curse that was to wish on anybody. And maybe that tells you something about me, something about the privilege I grew up in and what I did or did not understand as a child. But what is definitely also true is that the fact that I connected to that story prepared me for the possibility that I too might one day sacrifice for the greater good. Stories are the foundation of our world, of this world, and of any future that we might envision. Whether they're recorded on paper or film as fiction, whether they're retold as myth and tradition, or structured within our own imaginations. Stories create the outline of our lives. The outlines for what we live and the realities that we bring into existence through our actions. Stories have a unique power to change the world because in stories we can understand something that's different from the world we see and the world we touch. Something that's with us today in this room is the memory of Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., whom we remember with great honor. Now, Reverend Jackson had a story within himself that was different from some of the earliest material realities that he experienced. He knew from a young age that no matter what anybody said, no matter how little some others expected of him, no matter what the laws told him about where he could sit, he knew that he was somebody. I know that people in our congregation, perhaps people in this room, also have similar testimonies of having a clear, deep sense of self-worth that at times had more narrative reality as a story than support in the external material world. And so we know that no matter how little the outside world doesn't match up, nothing ever can take away from the reality of a story of human dignity. Stories are real. They shape us, creating who we are moment by moment. Let us choose our stories with wisdom. Let us allow them to transform us, and through us, the world. Come, let us worship together.
Please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing from our gray hymnal, number 297, The Star of Truth. The star of truth but dimly shines behind the veiling clouds of night, but every searching eye divines some partial glimmer of its light. The certainty for which we crave, no mortal ones can ever know. Uncharted waters we must brave and face whatever winds may blow. Though for safe harbor we may long, we must not let our courage fail. And though the winds of doubt blow strong, upon the trackless ocean sail. From honest doubt we shall not flee, nor flatter the inquiring mind. For where the hearts of all are free, a truer faith we there shall find.
Good morning, everyone. At this time, I'd like to ask all the children to join me. Thank you. You guys are getting really great at this. I don't even have to call you. Love it. Are we ready? I actually don't have a title for this story today, so I'm just going to read it, okay? Once upon a time, there was a television show called Galaxy Quest. It was a space adventure about bravery, loyalty, and never giving up. At the center of the show was Commander Peter Quincy Target. For our story today, we will call him Lennox. Lennox loved being the captain. Even years after the show ended, he still showed up to the conversation, smiling, signing autographs, and even proudly saying the famous line, "Never give up, never surrender." When he said it, he felt strong, important, like the hero he once played. Dr. Lazarus, we'll call him Lewis. Lieutenant Tawny Madison, we're gonna call her Zaria. Fred Kwan will be played by Tomo. Tech Sergeant Chin will be played by Parker. Guy Fleegman will be played by Holden. And in our telling of this story, Una and Frankie will be two brave girls watching it all unfold, learning what it means to be strong when things feel scary. For the actors, Galaxy Quest had become a memory, a script, something they once pretended. Some of them were proud of it. Some were tired of it. Some wondered if it ever really mattered. But far across the stars, an alien people had been watching. They did not know if it was fiction. They believed the story was real. They believed Lennox was truly a captain. They believed Lewis was noble, Zaria was brilliant. Tomo and Parker were skilled, and Holden was courageous. They received the story earnestly and vulnerably, and because they believed it, they built their world around it. They designed a real spaceship based on the show. They shaped their courage around its words. Then one day, danger came. A powerful enemy threatened their people, so they did the only thing they knew to do. They went looking for the heroes of their sacred story. Though a twist of fate, Lennox and the others were suddenly pulled into space. The ship was real, the threat was real, the fear was real. At first, they panicked. They were actors. They didn't know how to fly a real ship. They didn't know how to defeat a real enemy. The words "never give up" felt different when there was no script. But the aliens looked at them in complete trust. And that trust changed something. Lennox realized that the leadership is not about applause. It's about responsibility. Lewis found dignity again in the role he once resented. Zaria used her voice boldly instead of hiding behind it. Tomo and Parker worked together to solve impossible problems. And Holden, who once feared he was expendable, stepped forward with courage. Una and Frankie watched and learned something important. Resilience is not pretending you are not afraid. It is choosing to act when you are. The story they once performed became the story they lived. They did not suddenly become perfect heroes. They stumbled, they argued, they doubted, but they kept going. They embodied resilience, and in doing so, they proved something powerful. Stories matter. When we receive them with open hearts, they can shape us. They can call us to be braver than we thought we were. They can move us from pretending to live with courage. They can move us from pretending to living with courage. The aliens believed the story so deeply that they built a ship. The actors chose to believe it deeply enough to step into danger. And that is the invitation for all ages. To hear a story of courage, to receive it vulnerably, and when the moment comes, to live it. Never give up, never surrender. Thanks, guys. And with that, we send the children off with their love, and we invite you to turn and hug your neighbor.
We should do a theme song.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's funny because the tour I'm doing right now also wait till Nicole.
Good morning. My name is Margie Ganwa. We now take up our weekly offering. Your generosity supports the important ministries of this church. Each month we choose a community partner with whom we share our collection 50-50. And this month our partner is First U's very own Refugee Support Fund. And I just want to mention that I'm a volunteer for our refugee project. About 6 months ago, the Social Justice Committee, on behalf of our congregation, agreed to work with World Relief, an organization that brings refugee families here. So we are helping 2 families in many different ways. I personally tutor a 10-year-old boy in math, no less. And as you can imagine, his education has been quite interrupted. So that's just an example of one of the things that our First U Refugee Project does. We stand ready to help others in our community as well. So this is a way for all of us to help the project. Even if you can't go and tutor in person, you can help support it this way. Thank you.
And just a small change to your order of service in honor of the late Reverend Jesse Jackson. The offertory tune will be Precious Lord, Take My Hand, a favorite of his, as well as Dr. MLK. Please rise in body or spirit for the singing of our centering song. If you'd like to follow along, it is 10:03 in the teal hymnal. Or if you'd like, I will sing the first line, Barbara will sing the second line, and Andrea the third. And it is written to be built line by line on top of each other. So whichever line speaks to you, feel free to sing that one. Feel free to move between them. And we're just going to jam for a little bit. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from?
Mystery.
What are we?
Life is a
Where are
riddle
we
and a
going?
mystery.
Where do we come from?
Mystery.
What are we?
Life is
Where
a
are
riddle
we
and a mystery.
going? Where do we
Mystery.
come from?
Mystery.
What are we?
Life is a
Where
riddle
are
and
we
a mystery.
going? Where do we come from?
Mystery.
What are we?
Life is a
Where
riddle
are
and a
we
mystery.
going? Where do
Mystery.
we come from?
Mystery.
What are we?
Life is a
Where
riddle
are
and a
we
mystery.
going? Where do
Mystery.
we come from?
Mystery.
What are we?
Life is a riddle and a mystery.
Where do
Mystery.
we come from?
Mystery.
What are we?
Life is a
Where
riddle
are
and a
we
mystery.
going? Where do we come from?
Mystery.
What are we?
Life is a riddle and a
Where
mystery.
are we going?
Mystery.
Where do we come from?
Mystery.
What are we?
Life is a riddle and a mystery.
Where do
Mystery.
we come from?
Mystery.
What are we?
Life is a riddle and a mystery.
Where do
Mystery.
we come from?
Mystery.
What are we?
Life is a riddle and a mystery.
Where do
Mystery.
we come from?
Mystery.
What are we?
Life is a riddle and a mystery.
Where do we come from?
Mystery.
What are we?
Life is a riddle and a mystery.
Where do we
Mystery.
come from?
Mystery.
What are we?
Life is a
Where
riddle
are
and a
we
mystery.
Thank you. You may be seated.
As we gather each week in worship in this celebration of life, we bring our whole selves to share with each other our joys as well as our sorrows. Today, we lift up a few of these. A joy for the snow. Yes, a joy. Winter is precious in our day and age. From Tony and David, we had a wonderful Tet Lunar New Year celebration with friends and ate Vietnamese traditional dishes. We also gave away money and well wishes. Happy New Year. My joy is about my granddaughter who attends Columbia College and has made the Dean's List with a 4.0 GPA. And I know this is from Marie, and I'd like to invite Marie to come up. My sorrow is the passing of Reverend Jesse Jackson, and I do want to mention especially his work and his important role in the struggle and the fight against apartheid in South Africa. And Marie has an excerpt from one of Reverend Jackson's speeches prepared to share with us.
I'm good, thank you. Good morning. This is a speech that Reverend Jackson gave on July 19, 1988. We meet tonight at the crossroad, a point of decision. Shall we expand, be inclusive, find unity and power, or suffer division and impotency? We must never stop dreaming. Face reality, yes, but don't stop with the way things are. Dream of things as they ought to be. Dream, face pain, but love, hope, faith, and dream will help you rise above the pain. Use hope and imagination as a weapon of survival and progress. But keep on dreaming, young America. Dream of peace. Peace is rational and reasonable. War is irrational in this age and unwinnable. Dream of teachers who teach for life and not for living. Dream of doctors who are concerned more about public health than private wealth. Dream of lawyers more concerned about justice than judgment. Dream of preachers who are concerned more about prophecy than profiteering. Dream on the high road with sound values. And America must never surrender to a high moral challenge. Don't you surrender. Don't give up. Don't surrender. Don't give up. Don't surrender. Don't give up. Thank you.
The loss of Reverend Jackson has touched our congregation deeply. We remember him as a neighbor here in Hyde Park, Kenwood, and in our work on the South Side. Some remember our ministers who worked alongside him in the civil rights movement and on international affairs, and many of us are still dearly cherishing our congregation's elders who marched with him for civil rights in Marquette Park and elsewhere. As a congregation, for more than 75 years, we have shared Reverend Jackson's vision of a diverse community uniting on common ground. May his memory be a blessing and always a call to continued, bold, and prophetic action for justice. May it be so.
Good morning, congregation. My name's Tabitha DeBoney, and today I will be reading a poem by January Gill O'Neill entitled, I Was Lieutenant Uhura. I caught her on reruns, Nichelle Nichols, from the original Star Trek series. She was black like me, dark as me, cosmic in her mini dress, black boots and hoop earrings. Not a maid, and not Julia. Diane Carroll was too much like my mother, grounded by pain. I wanted to be astonishing as a cosmos, not ordinary matter. That dark energy I longed for but could not name. Could see myself on a starship long before teaching in a classroom. One Halloween, I dressed the part. Short red skirt, black go-go boots. My ex-husband went as Key Rock, SNL's unfrozen caveman lawyer. We were star-crossed from alternate universes. But I loved her intergalacticness, her all hands on deck facing the final frontier beyond death, voluminous and unknown. 3 seasons, 7-9 episodes. Every week, someone threatened to destroy the universe, yet no one called Uhura a DEI hire, though they may have thought it. Her character was a polyglot, 4th in command. She was more than a galactic space operator, a senior officer who wasn't killed off like the red stripes on away teams. Uhura from Uhuru, Swahili for freedom, the possibilities no longer light years away. Nichelle Nichols almost left after 1 season until Martin Luther King Jr. convinced her to stay. There was a future, and we were in it. Even Kirk couldn't keep his eyes off of her. The first interracial kiss on TV between them was made to look like torture, but we knew he wanted more. How did I feel seen, understanding our value in the world? I looked up to the stars, the universe blacker and more beautiful than I imagined. Uhura didn't have to prove she belonged. She listened to the big void and translated our dreams, boldly going wherever the hell she wanted to go. Thank you.
each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreams. We are the wrath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great vision. We are sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We are seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreams. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are.
I think some were surprised to hear that my sermon today might be themed around a 1999 sci-fi cult classic starring Tim Allen. That's Galaxy Quest, in case you didn't catch that. Now, as you may have gathered from my colleagues' lovely retelling to the children, this is a movie that is a comedic homage to Star Trek. And I will say, this is not the first time that the gospel of Star Trek has been preached from this pulpit, not even the first time in 3 years. But you're not wrong if you're surprised. I recognize that the premise is a little zany, and I appreciate your trust in coming with me on this journey, a quest of sorts, we might even say. The gospel of Galaxy Quest, the good news that I bring to you today, is that stories are real, and they can change the world if we let them. I'm going to say that again. Stories are real, and they can change the world if we let them. In fact, I'd posit that this sermon itself is going to do something a little similar to what happens in the movie. The Thermians, the aliens who called up the Galaxy Quest actors for their help, the aliens received the Galaxy Quest TV show as historical documents, and they built a space-age society around them. Not the intended purpose. Similarly here, yes, the movie is a comedy. Yes, it is all a joke about Star Trek. And for 15 minutes, I am asking you to come along with me in receiving this comedy as a real source of truth and meaning. We might just find that accepting the reality within this story has the power to change our part of the galaxy. To receive a new story and make it real requires two things: vulnerability and bravery. Now, vulnerability is uncomfortable. In Galaxy Quest, vulnerability often presents as earnestness. Perhaps we want to disavow and distance ourselves from the earnestness and the naivete of the Thermians. Perhaps we fear being vulnerable to being tricked as they are. Perhaps we cringe at the weakness implied by their simple, trusting reception of others and of the world. Perhaps some of us in this room are still questioning the entire endeavor of this sermon, because there is vulnerability in suspending disbelief and receiving anything or anyone earnestly and trustingly. For a moment here, I'm going to interpret the text of Galaxy Quest within a narrative level. The Thermians' society was saved because they received the show's broadcasts earnestly, because to them it was real. They made it their inspiration and created their future in its visionary image. The Thermians had this vulnerable earnestness as a natural quirk of their species and their society. Now, the humans in the story, on the other hand, had to engage bravery to find their earnestness. Consider again the moment when the human actors find themselves on board a real starship, facing bright-eyed aliens to whom they, the actors, are great heroes of legend. How would you react? The characters panic a bit, as you might imagine. The journey of this movie is the transformation of the actors as they find the bravery within themselves to truly inhabit the roles within the story that they themselves had originated through their acting. It would have been simpler to admit defeat. Just continue insisting to the aliens, as they did try on a couple of occasions in the movie, just continue insisting, we're actors, we actually don't know how to run a spaceship. Leave the aliens to their fate, which in many respects was not the actors' problem. It requires an almost foolish self-confidence to accept a colleague's order and sit down at the controller as a TV actor to attempt to learn to pilot a real spaceship in just a few hours. It also requires qualities that we ourselves need. Maybe we don't have that foolish self-confidence, but we do need the qualities of being afraid and continuing to act, to do what is called for by the moment, together, in partnership with others, to meet moments in which we find ourselves and for which we have been prepared, however poorly, to take responsibility ourselves when we become aware that a person better prepared for the situation is not coming along. The real NASA pilots are down on Earth, and I'm the one up here in space during a crisis. What audacity for any of us to believe in such a moment that even I might be of service. But for the Galaxy Quest crew, there is great persuasion in the fact that the ship was built with them in mind. The Thermians built it by studying the movements in the show. If they've done it before, they must be able to repeat it, and who else would be able to? In this case, no one else is around. Jason Nesmith and his friends summon the bravery to give it an earnest try, despite the very real risk, the likelihood, in fact, of failure. This is the bravery to be vulnerable, the bravery to hope, the bravery to trust. This is the first seed that brings new realities into existence, a seed of creation. We might even call it faith. With thanks to Evelyn and the folks at our First U Film Club who brought me this example, third Wednesdays, by the way, y'all come. Mae Jemison, the first Black woman astronaut and a Chicago native daughter, I learned from Woodlawn, Mae Jemison had faith. She knew, and this is true, she recognized the reality of the story of Lieutenant Uhura as she was watching Star Trek, the original series, and she let her earnest reception of that story change our solar system into a place where she really did get to start her shifts aboard the Space Shuttle Endeavour with the greeting, as seen on Star Trek, "Hailing frequencies open." She didn't wait for some other person to prove it was possible. The story had already shown her the way. Returning to Galaxy Quest, it's worth noting that the Thermians turned to the stories when their society had fallen apart. Their leader tells the humans that our goals and our values had become scattered. I feel perhaps we in today's time know something about that. In a moment of disarray, decay, destruction, and despair, the Thermians turned to the example provided by a story. And it not only saved them, but it created wondrous new possibilities. We can do the same. So let me tell you about a way that has happened in my life. Now, when I was watching Star Trek: The Next Generation for the first time, I was living in Atlanta, away from my friends and family, in a city I wasn't used to, with a culture I wasn't used to, and without a car, which for anyone who has lived in Atlanta will know is a sure recipe for suffering. In Star Trek, I saw a vision of a diverse team who trusted each other with their lives, who communicated, triumphed over challenges, and always supported each other to keep learning and growing. It was inspiring. I did not have much, if any, real-world experience with such a team. In my creative endeavors at work and school, I was more likely to operate alone. I was still young at that time. I couldn't yet imagine what it would be like to know and respect a group so deeply, to always trust each other, each to play our part. I did not foresee that one day I would be part of just such a team, here in this room. Like the Star Trek team, like the crew of the Enterprise, here at First U, we each bring unique expertise and skills, different identities, different cultures, passions, understandings. We come from different places, maybe not different planets, although you're welcome to correct me afterwards if that's wrong, and let me say you are welcome here. Like the Star Trek crew, here at church, we are choosing to trust each other. We know that disagreement does not diminish the deep respect and the spirit of covenantal love in which we hold each other. We choose here to stay bravely, to trust bravely. We choose to offer our best contributions, to play our part, knowing that others are playing theirs. That is the foundation on which we will build this church. That is the foundation that will allow our Rainbow Coalition to go boldly where no one has gone before. May it be so.
Please rise in body or spirit. Get your teal hymnal, hymn number 1017, Building a a new way.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and greed and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without peace, this world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry.
You're invited to take the hand of a neighbor if you so choose. This week, may you meet each moment with earnestness and with the courage to be vulnerable, to be authentic, and to take a risk when it's called for. Go boldly. Go in faith. Go in trust. Go always in hope. Amen.
A couple more announcements, folks, for today. Coming of age at 11:15. And also, First Forum, do not miss a more chaotic world. We have some solutions that came today for that chaotic world, but we'll get more. And the Faithful Defiant, that's at 11:30 with Dr.
Paul Post.
Paul Post. And the Faithful Defiance of Authoritarianism meets at 1 to go out on 53rd Street. Thank you.
And you're welcome to join us for coffee up the stairs this way.